Jamal Myers here with the main man himself, Kieran Farrell, proudly representing Morson on the biggest stage of the year. Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. You're in the corner of Daniel this weekend. What have you made of the whole fight week, the whole build-up? It's been absolutely incredible, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed it, and just looking forward to Saturday night.
And in terms of the way Daniel has carried himself, I mentioned this when we were talking off camera yesterday. He's completely changed his demeanour. He's showing that he's absolutely fearless in the face of Anthony Joshua. Showed that when he squared up to him and said, "We can go right now in the face-off." He's described himself as a Kingslayer. This is a huge opportunity for him. What have you made with the way he's carried himself in the build-up?
Yeah, look, Daniel's actually a really good kid, and people don't actually see him. I mean, we see him every day. We train him every day, and he's got a funny side to him. You know what I mean? And he's actually a real good kid, but he's fully focused on his fight with AJ, and it doesn't matter if it was AJ or Usyk or whoever it may be. He's fully focused on the job in hand, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to slay the king, haven't we? And that's what he said, and that's what we're going to do.
Both have shown chinks in their armour in previous years and have recovered to be the best version of themselves possible, I believe. When you look at Daniel's wins over Jarrell Miller, Hrgovic, vice versa, when you look at how Joshua recovered from those defeats to Usyk and Ruiz, to go and do what he did against Francis Ngannou, that was absolutely incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I don't really look too much into the Francis Ngannou because he done what Fury probably should have done anyway, you know what I mean? But Joshua's looked good, and he's with a good trainer, Ben Davidson. So yeah, he has changed his style up a little bit, and it does look good. And Daniel, I was only talking about it yesterday in the car. I said nobody thought that you'd be in this position from after you got beat off Joe Joyce. Nobody thought it, and I can say nobody thought it. I know for a fact nobody thought it, but he's believed in himself, his resilience to overcome the dark times, like he said, and to get himself where he is. The form going into this fight, obviously beating Jarrell Miller, who was unbeaten at the time, beating Filip Hrgovic, who was unbeaten at the time, and there was a bogeyman and no one wanted to fight him, and then getting crowned the IBF world champion. And people say, "Oh, you've been given the belt." He hasn't been given the belt. He had to fight Hrgovic for the belt. It was meant to be for the belt, but there was some sort of stipulation with Usyk, and you couldn't strip him of the title because he was poorly or something, or something like that. Anyway, and this is boxing. Titles get stripped off fighters. They've got mandatories to honour, and that's why they have eliminators and mandatory challengers. It's the old point of boxing, you know what I mean? So he hasn't been given the belt. He's rightfully earned the belt, and everyone will see when he defends it live on Saturday night.
Do you see it being an all-out war from the get-go? And just in terms of the big shots that Joshua's took in his career, how would you compare the power Dubois has to the likes of Andy Ruiz that have hurt him in the past?
I've never took Andy Ruiz on the pads. I've never felt a shot off him. But I can speak on behalf of Daniel Dubois. Wow, mate, it's different. It's just different. It hits different, you know what I mean? And he can put anyone to sleep, and that's the truth. And when I actually seen him in Hrgovic, and I thought, wow, Hrgovic has got a chin as well, because they was like full blown pelts, you know what I mean? And he hurt, so he badly hurt somebody, you know what I mean? And them shots are not, and like, look, you wouldn't want to take too many of them, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to take one. That's the truth, you know what I mean? And look, the fight's gonna be the fight, and whatever Joshua brings to the table. Daniel Dubois is age 27. He's still young, and he's ready for his opportunity, and he could go on to do big things in the heavyweight division and into world boxing.
They've had that history sparring, which no one likes to tell sparring stories, but other people around them have told those stories of the sparring. When you look at what Anthony Fowler said. What do you make of it?
Anthony Fowler's my friend, yeah, and I grew up with Anthony Fowler on all the Colomendy boxing camps, everything, when I was 11-year-old, and he was a very good fighter, Anthony Fowler. Anthony Fowler has got no reason to lie, like he said in the video. When he starts laughing, he said, "I've got no real reason to lie." I know for a fact that what he said there is the full-blown truth of the matter, and like he said Joshua got the better of the sparring, but Daniel clipped him. And when he clipped him, his legs went all over, and out of respect, Daniel didn't finish him off, you know what I mean? And then he started laughing. He said, "Listen, if Daniel Dubois lands, and I'm telling you, because I know myself, if Daniel Dubois lands on anyone, that's anyone, they're going to sleep." Well, look. You only have to look at his resume. His 21 wins are 20 knockouts. You know what I mean? There's only one person who took him the distance. You know what I mean? And he ran around. You know what I mean? For 10 rounds, I think it was. And 16 of his knockouts have been in the first round, first 3 rounds. So, again, look, Daniel Dubois can switch anyone off at any given moment, and he's shown that with the Miller fight as well, because he stopped him in the last 30 seconds, I think it was, you know what I mean? And it shows that he can carry the power in the 10th and the later rounds as well, if he has to, you know what I mean? So, look, we've got everything covered. Daniel's done all what has been required of him during training, and he's ready to go on Saturday night.
So do you think the sparring between them is relevant information and advantage?
No, it's not. It's definitely not. And I said that to Daniel about the Ergovic fight. I said, look, sparring. Look, some of the best fighters, and this is the truth, some of the best fighters can have some bad spars, but then on fight night, they can turn it on. And I know that from a fact, because I have fighters who sometimes have a bad spar, and then all of a sudden fight night, it's a different person, it's a different fighter. It's just, and Daniel Dubois is that guy. He can do it on fight night, you know what I mean? And sparring. Look, same as you can't overlook Joshua, because Daniel might have hurt him in sparring. It is what it is, but it's always nice to have that in your head, that you know that you've actually you're capable of hurting someone, and that's with big gloves on. You know what I mean? And head guard. So if you know that you're capable, it's a great thing to know. But it's not something what we'd look at as a team, or not something what Daniel will look at going in there thinking, right, look, that was 8 years ago or 9 years ago, whatever it was. Daniel was a 17-year-old kid then. All I know is that he's got bigger and stronger since then, you know what I mean? And same is with AJ. AJ's had his journey since as well, you know what I mean? Like, he's been Olympics, he's won Olympic gold, he's two-time world champion, you know what I mean? So it is what it is, you know what I mean? They both had the journeys, and look, however the fight plays out, it's going to be a great spectacle for British boxing and for world boxing, you know what I mean? So it's going to be a good fight.
With the fact that Tyson Fury and Usyk are going to be ringside as well this weekend, they're here in London from tomorrow onwards, I believe. Does that light a fire in Daniel, do you think? The fact that he's going to potentially be fighting one of those guys in the final of this undisputed tournament that's unofficially a tournament?
To be fair, Daniel's only focused on one thing, and that's it, and that's the man in front of him, and that's AJ. I said, we were talking yesterday, Jamal, and I'm like, it's mad, because you'll get a victory, and then before you know it, you're already talking about the next fight, and it's just human nature. But we're just fully focused on Saturday night. We've got to do the job on Saturday night, and then after that, everything what comes with it is great, you know what I mean? But Daniel fears nobody.
And finally, just explain how big of an occasion this is for you. We were talking yesterday, the fact that we were both on those Middleton Arena shows back in 2016, and now you're here, you're in the corner of Daniel in the biggest fight in British boxing history.
Yeah, it's madness, I'll be honest. It's been a long journey, and it's mad, because I was like going to say to you yesterday, we've gone from Middleton Arena to Wembley Arena, but we're not at Wembley Arena, we're at Wembley Stadium, and we've got 96,000 there, so it's a mad journey, but it's something what I've always believed what I'll sort of achieve, if you will. Not the 96,000 AJ at Wembley, like, but I think it was just I know that where I'm going is just a different place, and I've always had that same mentality. Even when I was boxing, I always believed to be world champion, to be a great fighter. Got cut short from me, but I kept at it. I show my resilience, and I really believe that boxing's got a place for Kieran Farrell, and look, I'm in the corner for Daniel Dubois in front of 96,000 on Saturday night, and I can't wait, mate. It's going to be great, and it means a lot to me, you know what I mean? And like I say, Morson Group, Jed Mason's helped me since we're 17-year-old, 18-year-old, and he's still backing me now till this day. And look where I am now. I'm at the pinnacle of the sport, and I only see more great things in the future, because I'm still only young. I'm 34-year-old, so yeah, it's great.
And having those full circle moments, like you mentioned, Morson was supporting you when you was a fighter, when you was a promoter, back at those Middleton Arena days. To go from fighting at Bowlers to promoting at Middleton Arena to coaching the brightest prospect in world boxing at Wembley Stadium in the main event, it's incredible having Morson with you along all those steps in this journey.
Yeah, it's mad, because what you just said there, and the way you put it there, Jamal, it just goes to show you can do anything you put your mind to, yeah. And I remember Jed actually gave me a fight. It was gold, man. It was like a 5-minute meeting, and it was up in Sir Alex Ferguson's suite in his offices. And I went in there and I was there for 5 minutes, and he only had 5 minutes to spare. But I sat there and I said, Jed, I just need your advice for 2 things. Just best. What was the best 2 things? He said, look, you work hard and take your chances. And I'm sat there like, what are my chances, man? What are my chances? And he's like, and then I realised, I'm like, look, I can put my mind to anything I can do. And he said, don't be jack of all trades and master of none. He said, just if you're going to be a promoter, put the suit on. If you're going to be the trainer, do your training. And then as the pandemic come through, I really realised that, look, as much as I enjoy managing, because I'm not getting my hands smacked about, or I enjoy promoting because it's a bit of a buzz and that. Much as I enjoy all that, I'm gifted at training fighters because I've been there and done it myself. You know what I mean? I've boxed at the highest caliber as an amateur with the best fighters in the world, and I was a champion of England, and I boxed for England, and I boxed some really good fighters and I beat them, and then obviously turned pro early, and I've had all that experience, even in the professional ring and the amateur ring, and know my stuff, and I also know how fighters feel, and what they're feeling when they sat back at home and they're watching boxing on telly. I know how they feel because I'm the same kid, and I thought if I can just put my energy into the training and took Jed's advice on board, and not trying to be jack of all trades, master of none, and just home in on what I'm doing. And then I've had all these results since. I got offered a job in Saudi Arabia at Mike Tyson's boxing gym. I had to go at that, come back, and then I got a message from Dubois' team, do you want to help out with Djurgovic and AJ fight? I'm like, perfect, let's do it, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's mad because the way you put it there, Jamal, it's like, for me, when I heard you say that, it was like mad, because the advice what Jed gave me, I've always took it on board. It's like a seed that was planted in my head, and he'll never forget what he said to me in them good 5 minutes. What I got with him, you know what I mean? So it's taking me to next level all the time. So it's good.
Amazing, mate. Well, I couldn't be more proud of you as a friend, and really, really excited to see what Daniel's going to deliver on Saturday night.
Hopefully, mate. Fingers crossed, and we'll get it on Saturday night. I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect. Thanks so much, mate.